In the shadowy underworld of American street gangs, few names command as much fear or respect as the Latin Kings. With a history stretching back over half a century, they've evolved from a small Chicago neighborhood group into one of the largest and most organized criminal enterprises in the Western Hemisphere. But how did a band of marginalized youths become a transnational empire steeped in both violence and community activism? This is the complex story of the Latin Kings. Our story begins in the gritty streets of 1950s Chicago. Amid the post-war boom, Puerto Rican and Mexican immigrants faced rampant discrimination, poverty, and police brutality. In 1954, a man named Ramon Santos, later known as Papa King, founded the Latin Kings as a social club. Their mission? To protect their communities and preserve Latino pride. Wearing gold and black, colors symbolizing unity and strength, the Kings initially focused on cultural events and mutual aid, but by the 1960s economic despair and racial tensions boiled over. Clashes with rival groups like the Vice Lords and the Gangster Disciples pushed the Kings toward violence. Survival meant arming themselves, and the line between protector and predator began to blur. By the 1970s, the Latin Kings had metastasized. Members spread to New York, where they took root in prisons and impoverished neighborhoods like Spanish Harlem and the Bronx. But growth brought chaos. Factions emerged. The Chicago Motherland Kings clashed with New York's almighty Latin Charter, each claiming legitimacy. In 1986, the Kings formalized their structure under the nation concept, drafting a manifesto called The. Members swore oaths to the 5 pillars: honesty, honor, obedience, sacrifice, and love for the nation. Yet this code coexisted with ruthless discipline, beatings for disloyalty, executions for snitching. The 1990s saw the Kings dominate drug markets, from crack cocaine in Brooklyn to heroin in Chicago. Their reach extended to Mexico, Puerto Rico, and even Europe. But with power came infamy. In 1994, New York prosecutors indicted 32 leaders under the RICO Act, branding them a criminal empire. The Latin King's identity is steeped in symbolism. The 5-pointed crown represents love, respect, sacrifice, honor, and obedience. Hand signs, tattoos, and chants like Amor de Rey. King's love reinforce loyalty. Initiates endure brutal hazing, including courting and a 30-second beatdown by members. Authorities have waged a decades-long war on the Kings. The 2000s saw mass arrests, over 500 members jailed in Operation Crown in 2006. In 2016, the FBI dismantled Connecticut's Latin Kings hierarchy. Yet the gang persists, adapting with encrypted apps and decentralized leadership. Today, the Latin Kings span 40 U.S. states and 20 countries. Estimates suggest 20,000 to 50,000 members worldwide. While some chapters remain entangled in drug trafficking and murder, others distance themselves from crime, focusing on social justice. In 2020, Chicago Kings marched alongside BLM protesters, echoing their founding ethos. Yet the U.S. Department of Justice still classifies them as a transnational criminal organization. This duality fuels debate. Are they a product of systemic failure or architects of their own chaos? The Latin King's story is one of contradictions. A brotherhood born to resist oppression, now entangled in the very cycle of violence it sought to escape. They remind us that gangs aren't born in vacuums. They're reflections of societal fractures. As long as poverty and marginalization persist, the Crown's legacy, however tarnished, will endure. What do you think? Can a group rooted in crime transform into a force for good? Or is the Latin King's tale a cautionary one, warning of power's corrupting grip? Share your thoughts below, and remember, the streets have stories, but not all of them have happy endings.